Hello there, Dark Nova here, and welcome back to episode 3 of Kerbal Space Program, the Interstellar Quest. And here you can see me trying to make a moon lander and then realizing that we do not have enough funds. So what I ended up doing to get funds is to take some missions which asks us to go in specified places at specified altitudes and take temperature readings or crew reports and stuff. And then I realized that to do these missions I actually will have to look into aviation. So I tried building an airplane with whatever limited parts we had. I unlocked the basic Juno engine and the basic small landing gear because the first wheels that we actually unlocked were very bad. If you overload them, they would bounce around and the airplane would not fly with that. So I basically had to use around 90 science to unlock these, and this is my first attempt at making an airplane in this series. And then I tried taking the airplane off and realized two things. First, the runway was not upgraded and was very wobbly and brown and sticky and stuff. And the second is the wheels were too close to the center of mass of this plane, hence it was not stable at all. So I went back, upgraded the runway that took us 75,000 Kerbal dollars, and then I fixed the airplane up as the best to my abilities at that time, and then relaunched it. And now it's time to get back to younger me, and let's see what he says. And Ginnery smiled because the airplane finally does not wibble wobble and actually goes kinda straight, I said kinda straight. And Ginnery, fearing for his life, had a very, very uneasy takeoff. Oh god, oh, and the game crashed. Oh my god. Looking back at me building this aircraft and trying to fix what was wrong with it, I wanna kill myself. And with that, Ginnery gets excited and worried at the same time by the inclination of this airplane, and he wonders what will happen of him. He launches the engines, goes ahead slowly, and realizes this thing is not that steady. Although Ginnery likes to look at planes, he's not really trained in aviation. Okay, Ginnery quickly realizes that this thing is not stable at all, but the future of Kerbal SpaceX depends on Ginnery's skill to fly this thing and take temperature data, otherwise the Kerbal Space Program might just get bankrupt. So he throttles down and moves forward with such a low amount of thrust that he wonders if he would ever take... Okay, no, he won't take off. Ginnery has learned his lesson. And after that, Ginnery realizes that he needs to report to the aviation engineering team that the space plane was too short and went out in a butt full of flames in an unfortunate accident. But Ginnery lives. Let this be a lesson towards better aviation and towards better funding that we need to have better planes. Struggling through funds and restrictions is sometimes fun. And Ginnery goes back into the capsule after taking an EVA report, which will provide us with a 2.4 science value, which is More than Jeanery expected, but now Jeanery wonders, can he actually climb the cockpit? And he could. He grabs the cockpit and goes in the heat and takes a crew report. This is our space center. We are home. To be honest, we never left home. Let's recover the vessel. And we gained 4 signs out of that, and we lost 1,000 fundings from that, but we don't care because Jeanery, after 2 traumatizing accident and facing near death, is getting desensitized to death. We ended up taking a lot of missions to actually get the funding, but if we will be able to complete those missions lies in the hands of Jeanery Carmen. 7 active missions which have provided us with just enough funding to upgrade our space plane hangar. And after 2 failed attempts at an aircraft and an almost death for Jeanery Kerman, the aviation team realized that they were running out of funds and they were running out of Kerbals to kill. So they went to a certain Discord server where KSP veterans, the former people who ran Kerbal Space program, taught them about making a stable airplane. And alas, they have learned to use structural fuselage components instead of actual fuel tanks. And hopeful Mark V flies and makes everyone proud. Well, there is a lot of pressure on this plane because the future of Kerbal Space depends on if this thing will fly or not. Everyone hold their breaths. And the hopeful Mark V is launched with again Jeanery in its crew. The airplane stands steadily on the runway. Every Kerbal in the near vicinity holds their breaths. Jeanery launches the engine and accelerates while realizing that it is still very wobbly, but Jeanery has to make this happen. Jeanery has to fly and ho! Jeanery pushes up and realizes that this airplane is somehow very stable all of a sudden and could almost take off vertically at around 90 meters per second. But after he takes off, he realizes that he has forgotten the buttons to retrieve the landing gear. Hence, he apologizes to the mission control for not being competent enough and leaves them on. Well, he could go out and right-click every one of them and press retract, but that's just boring. Jeanery looks outside from his cockpit and it looks amazing to him. He can roll around, pitch around and do stuff, but pitching too much wobbles this craft like crazy, and he avoids pitching way too much because he still fears death, although not as much as before. But yeah, a stable craft, and finally it is time for Jeanery to go ahead and take temperature readings and make the needed Kerbalers for everyone. And it's time to hop back into post-process time acceleration at 4 times speed. And here you can see me trying to gain altitude and struggling with it because it kept getting more unstable the lesser atmosphere it had to cut through. I really had no idea why that was happening. Then we got at around 12,000 meters and this thing was just not pitching up, because back then I didn't realize it, but now that I look at it, the Juno engines probably did not have enough air to continue thrusting this thing up, so it started pitching downwards and finally gave up. So what I decided was to go ahead and land this thing, because after trying for a few minutes, I knew this thing was not going to get over 19,000 meters. So we headed to our nearest landmass that we could find and tried landing it there. And here, young me will take over again. The poor Kerman looks at all the cities he's gonna land on. He wonders, are these really cities? Or are these just some hoax, some lies created by the world government that lots of Kermans live on this planet, but Jeanery could not find anyone? Jeanery gets sad by looking that the cities are actually paintings and not actual cities, so he looks for an open field where there are no cities to land this thing, while this thing bleeds speed at a steady rate. And it is daytime, hence we should be getting some shadows to this thing. Jeanery desperately looks for the light and shadows, and he gets it. He gets the shadows, and he realizes that he has to land this thing soon enough, because there's a big crater nearby. Hence, he bleeds the speed by pitching up little by little, and he intends to bleed the speed as much as possible, because he knows 50 meters per second is too much for those wheels to handle. And he wonders, why don't they just put a jet engine facing backwards so they can air brake? Or maybe there is some technology being developed by some scientist somewhere in Kerbal space, which actually will say aero brake on it. And successful landing by Jeanery Kerman. Temperature here is quite pleasant. This would be a nice place to live in. Indeed, Jeanery. Let's take some crew report. Did we actually go anywhere? This looks awfully similar. Yes, we did not make it too far from the Kerbal space program, because we had to do an emergency landing. Not really emergency, but planned emergency landing, because our plane is now dancing. I guess it's a successful flight where the airplane wants to dance to the beat that Jeanery is playing. Everyone seems happy, including Jeanery. At least they know the secrets to aviation now. And Jeanery tries to stop the airplane, but to no avail. The airplane is its own grove. And after adding a few more thrusters to this thing, KSP is not that hopeful. They know that this is gonna be the last flight if this thing doesn't manage to reach 18,000 meters. No, 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 that was, ow, okay. That, wow, that was, oh, wow. That is bad. That is most definitely bad. And after trying to make something that will most definitely reach 18,000 meters of altitude, we settle in for something very bizarre, because we ran out of funds. This craft cost 24k Kerbal dollars, and we only have 25k Kerbal dollars. Hence, this is the flight that will make or break Kerbal Space Program's reputation, because if this one doesn't work, we will have to take a bailout of 100,000 Kerbal dollars, and that will shove our reputation down the line because the public would think that the Kerbal space program is not necessary like the Kerbal military. And they're very incompetent. Ginnery fires all the engines, but he certainly knows that all this thrust is too much for this airplane to take off with, so he thrusts up. He's trying to keep this thing very stable, then he thrusts down because he knows all that thrust might just flip this thing, which does happen. God damn it, god damn it, god damn it! And there goes the cockpit, and there goes the runway. Ginnery realizes that he has probably made the biggest, baddest firework ever. And after reaching quite the speed, he throttles down a little and tries to lift it up because he certainly knows this much thrust might just not be good for this aircraft and might just flip it, but it is as steady as ever because the aviation team has learned that while adding that many thrusters, you should add some in the front to keep the center of mass balanced. And this thing, as steady as ever, tries to climb to 18,000 meters, and this thing is still losing altitude while climbing, but guess what? We have 6 more thrusters to speed this thing up, which just after launching gives this thing a hard time staying stable. And with all that thrust, this thing shoots up to the sky at ridiculous levels of acceleration for the standards of this plane. Needs to get up high in the sky, and this thing loses thrust because it has lost a lot of air. Hence, Ginnery again realizes that the aviation team needs to learn more and needs to add more needs to add more air intakes instead of more thrusters. More power doesn't always fix the things. And the airplane stalls with the lack of air, and the air intake increases. Hence, Ginnery decides to flip around the airplane directly towards KSP, but fails miserably and succeeds. We will try and land this thing on the runway itself. The airplane tries to break the sonic barrier and almost manages to break it, hence the ripples of the air go through the cockpit and stuff, but unfortunately our dear pilot cannot see it while we can. Unexpected speed brake, and Ginnery is probably unconscious from all that deceleration. That was like 10? No, that was like 30 G's of deceleration. That's not good. Ginnery probably is unconscious by now, but we have the advanced technology of hands moving even without the brain installed on our dear pilots, so they can at least fly the plane. And Ginnery realizes that it is not in his best intentions to land this thing in the runway, because there are lots of things that can go wrong in the runway, and we really cannot afford it right now. We can afford the death of Ginnery, but we cannot afford any scratches on this airplane because we're tight on funds. Very tight on funds indeed. so tight that I am willing to go below 30 meters per second to actually land this thing safely and soundly. Alright, desperate thing calls for desperate measures. A liquid fuel engine, I don't know how that will react or act, but we'll try it anyway, and somehow it's cheaper. I don't know what I did with the last airplane, but somehow this thing is cheaper. This is the weirdest craft I've ever built. Let's launch it. If this works, it's gonna be a miracle. Alright guys, it's really gonna be a miracle if this works. We are gonna get close to the place on jet engines, and then we are gonna fire up the liquid fuel engine. It is gonna be a very good experience for Jeanery. Fire the engines up and move this forward. Please do not bounce. I did not have the funding, so I had good legs to that thing. Please, I beg of you, do not bounce. Oh, get up, get up, get up. This is okay. That somehow took off. All right. Don't question it. All right. Desperate things need for desperate measures. A rocket engine to get us to altitude. We will be going to 12,000 meters with those Juno engines, and we will be getting near where we need to actually take the temperature, which I forgot to put a thermometer in this thing, and then we'll fire up the rocket engine. It will be a miracle if this thing takes off. I can tell you guys that. Every time I look at it, it's just kind of weird. Let's change the staging and launch. Hopefully this thing will take off and finally save the Kerbal space program after 6 aircraft launches. No, just take off, don't whittle waddle, take off, please. That was nerve-wracking, I gotta tell you that. It's very, very nerve-wracking. Let's try and activate this thing. Oh, wow. Let's not waste fuel here. It just increases our acceleration so much. And again, I will make you guys stare at post-process time acceleration while looking at my airplane losing its stuff over weird aerodynamics. It's probably my weird airplane. Have you ever seen an airplane with thrusters over its cockpit? No. Well, yeah, that airplane is weird. And now you guys can see me course correct towards my destination. Yes, we have course corrected. And now, in a few minutes, we gotta launch up a rocket engine. We will be gaining speeds very quickly, but the liquid fuel might just run out. Don't run out liquid fuel. 500 meters per second. I think that's quite the speed boost that we kind of needed. And we are still gaining speed. That is good. With a little help from a rocket engine, we have actually managed to break through The limits of the Juno engines. Let's pitch up more. Let's fire that engine. It will run out of liquid fuel. It will run out of liquid fuel, no doubt in that. I should have brought more liquid fuels. What? The engines gave up. The Juno engines actually gave up. What is our thing? Yes, our apoapse is 39! It's 39! That is too much apoapse. That is too much. Wow, that is actually too much. We gotta... Oh no, we have completely lost control of this thing. That is a little too much. Oh god. Oh god, that is bad. Reduce apoapse to around 17.5 kilometers or something. Oh, actually, it's above those. So yeah, we do not need to worry about that. No. Gain control. We are an uncontrollable aircraft going through the place. Are we actually going to pass above that? I think we are going to pass above that. Log temperature. Did it do anything? Entering zone 47 something something. Let's take the temperature. Yes, we have done one of them. Let's do the second one. We gotta course correct a little. And then we gotta fire up this engine. That engine ruins the stability somehow. We are actually going down. We need to fire this engine up. Get above that, get above that. You do not want to run out of liquid fuel. What? Oh, we ran out of oxidizers and all we are left is with liquid fuels. No! That is bad. I didn't think of that. But at least we got one of these. Only one of these. We're going down rapidly. Log temperature, yes! Yes! We could do two sides at the same time. That is good. Two sides down, two sides, and a lot more sides to go there. Some. Yes, the engines are back. We actually managed to gain some funds, or maybe the funds are only given after the contract is completely complete and we are stalling pretty hard. We will need the engines to come back online pretty nicely to gain control of this thing. And we will try and land this on water, which will probably... No, I shouldn't do that. That will break a lot of wings, break a lot of engines, get us more bankrupt. Come on, gain control. Don't stall so hard. Gain control. Oh my god. It's falling so hard. No. Don't you dare stall. Don't you... Okay, we are gaining control back. We are gaining control. That is good. We are gaining control, and since land is so far away, I'll actually try and land this thing on water. I am gonna achieve that feat somehow. And the engine should be back in full throttle. That is very good. 4,000 meters. We gotta get down a little more. No shadows to be seen yet because we are quite high. We are going through the atmosphere at almost Mach 2 and we will brake pretty hard. That was a lot of G's for Jeanery again. He probably is swearing in his tape recorder while turning off the connection to the space station because that G is not fun to deal with. No, buddy. No. Stop doing that. We are pretty close. Anything below 30 meters per second, I think it will land nicely. Or it might not. We might just kill Greenery. Nope. I can see some glitchy shadows. Pitch up. Reduce your speed, you're going too fast. 90 meters per second is indeed very fast. We gotta throttle up. We gotta throttle up. We gotta increase. Yeah, we gotta throttle up. This is gonna drop straight down. That velocity was mostly vertical. That was not good. We need horizontal velocity instead. 80 meters per second. Actually very bad for water landing. Let's try and stall this thing. Yes, that will reduce our speed by a lot. Stall, stall. Pick your nose up. Pick your nose up. No! Cup. Oh, whoa. Oh, wow. That ripped the airplane apart. No wonder you don't land planes on water. That ripped this thing apart. And the mission control realizes that they were a dum-dum. They didn't even read the contract before taking them. Two of them are actually below 19.4 kilometer, and that is very good for us, while these are above 17 kilometers and stuff. Hence, we'll be launching this again. We'll be getting desperate again, and we will reach the sky and take temperature readings. Launch! Take off, take off. Don't do this to me, take off. This thing is very hard to take off, and you actually have to run out from the runway for this thing to take off, because there are a lot of wheels in the back and it fights the pitching up. I should probably remove those wheels, because yeah, that will make taking off much easier. Let's pitch up higher, higher, higher. That should do it. And engine burnout because we don't have air. But we are going quite straight up ahead. This thing was quite a good idea, I have to say that. We are at 28 meters thingy. Oh, we are not even close. I was not looking it from other perspectives. God. Oh, come on. As soon as I fire that engine, this thing goes haywire. Why is that? Still gotta reach it. Alright. We'll make it do within the spin. And gain some control. There we go, jet engines back online. Gain control. Gain control, gain control. Gain control steadily. Let not Valentina. I actually did not notice I brought Valentina this time. I actually did not notice her. That's good. Valentina will gain some experience, and I think I won't be killing her this time. Yeah, we do not have enough oxidizer to course correct and actually get to that thermometer reading. At higher speeds, this thing seems to get more stable for some damn reason. I think the air just streamlines around it and just keeps it there, stuck inside the air. Hey, this place is actually called Valentina's Glory. Guess what? We are somehow accidentally with Valentina. That's such a coincidence. No, I seriously did not take her because I wanted to. So let's take a crew report. Crew report! collecting surveillance data for Valentina's glory, and then we are just gonna land this thing here. This looks like a pretty plain surface. Valentina, let's not lose control of this, please. I've got quite proficient at landing, but this is gonna be a challenge, alright? No, 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 no. I saw this. I saw the shadow. No, 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 no. This is bad. This is very high speeds. This is very high speeds. Bleed the speed off. Slowly. Slowly, 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 slowly. There we go. Landed nice and easily, and we'll brake. Valentina Kerman lands. Valentina Kerman, her first flight is quite the success, we gotta say. She earned a lot of monies for her people and planted a flag. Airplane with rocket engines? Surely the oxidizer and liquid fuel would mix in a horizontal orientation. Let's get back. Can we actually get to the cockpit? Or I do not think so. Valentina, do you have enough jump range? No, I'm not talking about elite. No, Valentina cannot jump high enough. So she will go. She will go far, far away. Valentina has never seen grass in her life because most of her childhood and adulthood has been spent learning space things and why the sky is blue and why beyond the sky is black and starry. She knows about stars, gas giants, distance and light years, but this is her first time having a glimpse at grass actually taller than her. She's fascinated. And the Kerbal space program finally came back from the almost bankruptcy phase, gaining a good 66,000 Kerbal dollars out of all those missions and endeavors provided by the mission control. And this was only made possible by the competence of Jeanery Kerman and the willingness of the aviation team to go into different Discord servers and learn how to build a stable aircraft and their problem-solving skills. And we are happy to say that our Kerbal space program will continue on to another episode with the will of Jebediah to go faster than light and achieve interstellar travel. Until then, I'm Dark Owl. See you guys in the next one.